Hello, I'm Peter Orker of Peter Orker Piano Tuition, and it's time now for another of my A to Z videos, A to Z of piano composers and pianists. And today it's the turn of letter N. And for my letter N composer, I have chosen the London-born composer Michael Nyman, who was born in 1944. But I'm not going to go over his biographical information in this video. That you can look that up for yourself on Wikipedia quite easily. But what I am going to do is just focus on his music. Well, Michael Nyman is known as a minimalist composer, but his most well-known piece is probably a piano piece he wrote for a film. The film was called The Piano. Great title for a movie. I confess I've never actually watched that film, so I don't really know much about the plot, if I'm honest. But I do know that it involves a lady who cannot speak, but she speaks through the way she plays the piano. That's about all I know about it. But I must make a point of going to see that film at some point. However, the music behind it, the piano music that's become very, very well known, is a fascinating piece because it sort of combines minimalism with something more more approachable, if you like. It certainly has folk music connotations to it, and it's quite fascinating to see how Nyman has put this piece together. It's called The Heart Asks Pleasure First, which is a rather curious title, but it comes from a poem by Emily Dickinson. It's a very short poem, which has been described as an enigmatic poem. It's so short I can just read it through to you. The poem is: the heart asks pleasure first, and then excuse from pain, and then those little anodynes that deaden suffering, and then to go to sleep, and then, if it should be the will of its inquisitor, the liberty to die. Well, this is what a critic wrote about the sort of meaning behind that poem. They put, in summary, this poem examines what one's heart most desires. Pleasure, ideally, first and foremost, but failing that, the heart will settle for being excused from pain and to live a life without suffering. But failing that, the heart requests anodynes or painkillers. Anodyne stems from the Greek, without pain. If those anodynes don't work, then sleep or unconsciousness is desirable. And if sleep fails to soothe one's ills, death is the one remaining thing the heart asks liberty to do. The inquisitor, some religious figure who may call to mind the ultimate inquisitor, God or death, is the only one who can help us then. Death is the great painkiller. Unfortunately, of course, it kills everything else as well. So it's kind of a slightly bleak poem, but Nyman's music, with the same title, The Heart Asks Pleasure First, is really beautiful, and it's beautifully constructed, and it's a really good example of something that's very simple in essence, which I'll show you in a moment, and yet it has this great power, emotional power, to really move you when you listen to it. The source material for the music, apart from the poem title, is actually a Scottish folk song called Gloomy Winter Now Away. And Gloomy Winter Now Away, this is the tune of it. not even just that, that original song that Nyman bases his music on, it's quite a haunting sound already. The way he uses, the way he creates his music, constructs the music, really has three elements to it. First element is the melody line, which is actually based on that tune. Although he does play around a little bit with it, puts it into a different key for a start, and the rhythm's slightly different. This is the actual melody line from Nyman's music. That's how it begins, and the melody pretty much is constructed along the same lines, but between, like, if you like, verses of the folk tune, he has what we might call a ritornello, which is a classical music term meaning a little passage, interlude passage, that goes between main themes of music. So in Heart Asks Pleasure First, in Nyman's music, the ritornello melody does this. Sometimes one of the notes is changed, like this. Going to that note instead of that note, but generally speaking, each time the ritornello is played, that's what you hear. And then the second element is the harmony, and in Nyman's music, the harmony is slow moving. It's what we call a slow harmonic rhythm. In other words, the chords don't rapidly change from one chord to another. For example, in classical music, something like this. The chords are changing quite quickly. But in this, he stays, for instance, at the beginning, he stays on the chord of A minor for quite a few bars before changing to F, and then to G, and then to back to A minor again. So when you put the tune over the top, all that time is just on one chord, then it goes on to an E chord, and back to A minor, and there's a bit in the middle where the tune goes into a major key, so you get the C major chord, then a G, then A minor, and so on. So it's a very slow changing of harmonies. And then the third element is what I might call this is where the minimalist sound comes in. It doesn't sound very minimalist yet, but he uses a continuous series of rapid notes which fill in the harmony. So instead of having a basic chord like an A minor chord, he'll have he'll alternate those notes one after the other. If I just play you the ritornello theme, you'll see how this works. You'll see between those melody notes you've got the trumpet notes as well. And as soon as the main melody comes in, you get the impression there, or you get the effects there of the minimalist style coming in. Well, that's all I really want to say about Nyman's music, The Heart Asks Pleasure First, for the piano, from the film The Piano. Now's a good time to hear a performance of the whole piece, which I hope you'll enjoy, and I'll see you hopefully at the next video, where we will be reaching letter O. So if you've enjoyed this one, don't forget to like and share it, and enjoy the performance.